Introduction and Navigation. Welcome to the Nautilus video manual. Before we get started, let's restart the Nautilus so we'll both be in the same place from the beginning. Hold down the power switch for a couple of seconds when turning the Nautilus on or off. Now wait about 10 seconds before turning it back on. The Nautilus is a powerful music workstation that incorporates the sounds, effects, digital audio, and much more of the unparalleled Kronos series into an affordable, easy-to-use musical instrument. In this hour-long video, we'll cover the main functions of your Nautilus. There's a lot to cover, so each exercise will be brief, but it should be enough to get you started. For more detailed information, the Nautilus PDF manuals on Korg.com can help you dig deeper. We recommend that you follow this video all the way through the first time, pausing when necessary. Then later, go back to specific chapters. Also, the programs and combinations in my Nautilus may be different than yours. This won't affect the video. It takes a couple of minutes for the Nautilus to start up. This is normal. It's booting up the operating system and loading in the necessary files, including gigabytes of samples. By the way, the Nautilus is set to shut off if there's no activity, for example, touching the display, playing sounds, etc., for a certain period of time. By default, it's set to 4 hours. Once the Nautilus has finished starting up, this screen will be displayed regarding the auto power-off function for 10 seconds. You can adjust the auto power-off settings by touching Change Setting, or do it later in global mode. Touch OK, or wait for the window to disappear. Okay, let's get started. When using the Nautilus, you will be in one of 7 modes. Pressing this Mode button displays them. Program Mode, where you access individual sounds like pianos, organs, synth leads, etc. Combination Mode, where up to 16 sounds can be combined together like splits, layers, and more. Sequencer Mode for MIDI and audio recording. Set List for accessing programs, combinations, and sequencer songs all in one place. Sampling Mode for creating your own samples. Global Mode for adjusting parameters that affect the instrument as a whole, for example, master transpose, the brightness of the screen, etc. And Media Mode for saving and loading data. One of the main features of the Nautilus is the Touch View user interface. By touching objects displayed on the LCD screen, you can select pages, set parameter values, move sliders and knobs, enter text, and more. By the way, when selecting things on the screen, use your fingernail for more accuracy. I'm going to use Combination Mode to show you a few things, but the other modes work basically the same way. Touch Combination. This is the top page of the main page group, in this case, Home. These tabs take you to other pages within this page group. For example, this arpeggiator and drum track page. Pressing the Exit button will return you to the top page. In Combination Mode and Sequencer Mode, you also have sub-page tabs on the upper left that go between a volume subpage and a status play mute subpage. Go back to the volume subpage. Pressing the Page button accesses more page groups. And you can see, like before, there are tabs along the bottom to go to other pages within this page group. When you touch a parameter, a green line appears to the left of what is now an edit cell. You can adjust the edit cell in a few ways. The value dial and plus and minus buttons. Touching an edit cell twice will either bring up a numeric keypad on the screen or a selection of options to choose from. You can either select something from the list or touch anywhere outside the menu to make the window close. You will also occasionally find checkboxes. Simply touch the box to select and touch again to deselect. Pressing Exit always returns you to the home page of that mode. You can also touch and drag sliders and knobs to adjust their values. When you touch this pop-up button in the upper right corner, it brings down the page menu with functions relevant to that particular page. Touch Right Combination. You will sometimes come across dialog boxes like this one. Touching the name takes me to where I can use the screen to type the name I want for the combination. Touching OK confirms the text. Touching OK would save the combination. Touching Cancel or pressing the Exit button cancels the right operation. To the left of the screen are the Nautilus Real-Time Control Knobs, or RT Control Knobs as they are called. Use this Select button to choose what the RT control knobs will be controlling, either the sound, the arpeggiator and drum track, or User, where you can assign whatever you want each knob to control for each program, combination, and sequence. Pressing a knob will set it flush into the panel in case you want to avoid turning it accidentally. We'll cover these switches in later chapters. These quick access buttons on the right can be used to jump to the pages you set or to perform specific functions. For example, pressing A takes you to setlist mode. Pressing B to program mode. This can be set up in global mode. Press the Mode button, touch Global Mode. From this basic setup page, touch the Quick Access tab. There are 4 preset types and 4 user types for assigning functions to the buttons that you frequently use. For example, playback, stop, record, and other buttons in sequencer mode. For the purposes of this video manual, set it to type 3 if it isn't already. Now access the page menu, touch Right Global Setting, and touch OK and OK again. Press Exit. Program mode. Press the Mode button and go to Program mode. This is where individual programs are accessed. There are more than 2,000 sound programs, and they can be selected in a few different ways. The value dial, and plus and minus buttons, or the touch screen by first touching this pop-up button to the left of the name. The programs are organized in categories. There are 17 categories and 1 user category. It makes it easy to find a sound in the instrument family you need, for example, keyboards, organs, guitars, etc. The categories can be selected with the tabs on the left and right. There are subcategories along the top. The scroll bar on the bottom allows access to more programs. Simply touch the program you want. Touching Cancel or pressing the Exit button would return you to the previous program. Touching OK will bring you to the main screen of the selected program. There are a few other ways to view and select programs using the screen. For example, touch here. Banks. There are 20 banks of 128 programs, plus the general MIDI banks. The Korg banks are Bank A through Bank T. You can either display the banks and a list of the programs. The scroll bar on the right allows access to more programs. Or touch here to display the banks and a numeric keypad. Enter in the program number you want. The sound will switch when you press this Update button. Or just touch OK or press the Enter button to go to the home page of the program. You can also search for sounds by touching this magnifying glass icon and typing in all or part of a name. Then touch Find, then touch Next or Previous in the upper right corner, or the plus/minus buttons to step through all the programs with Smooth in the name. Once you've found the one you want, touch OK. This Find feature is available for finding combinations, set lists, wave sequences, and many other Nautilus resources, anywhere the magnifying glass icon appears. The Nautilus has a rare and powerful ability. You can change from one sound to another, and the previous sound, including any delay or reverb effects, doesn't get cut off. It continues. It's called Smooth Sound Transitions, or SST. Keyboardists have been requesting this for years, and you can do this with programs, combinations, even between setlist entries. Most importantly, you don't have to be in any special mode to do it. And you don't need to reserve half of your sounds and effects. It just works. By the way, over time you will find programs that are your favorites. When you do, touch this star in the upper right corner. Let's go back to where you select a program. When you touch Favorite at the bottom of the screen, only the programs you've marked as favorite are displayed. For now, deselect favorites by touching here again and press Exit. One of the reasons the Nautilus is so powerful is that it has 9 sound engines. Sound engines are the technologies used to create a sound. Typically, a keyboard uses one sound engine, usually sample playback technology, to create sounds. The Nautilus is much more powerful. Let's take a quick look at the 9 sound engines to understand how they work. Of course, the beauty of the Nautilus is you can simply select a sound and play it. Everything is done behind the scenes for you. But understanding each sound engine may help you in deciding what sound to use for a particular musical application. Touch here. Choose the piano category, touch A001 Italian Grand Piano, and OK. This program uses the SGX2 sound engine. The name of the sound engine is on the left of the screen, here. It's designed solely to create piano sounds. Because the Nautilus uses Korg's virtual memory technology, it can access gigabytes of sample memory in real time from the internal solid-state drive. This allows Korg to sample every note of a piano at up to 12 velocities with no looping. There are 4 world-class pianos sampled in this way, plus a prepared piano with many unique piano effects. The SGX2 responds like a real piano, from adjusting the piano lid to true string resonance. Press Exit. Touch the pop-up button, touch Bank 10 key, and enter the number 63, and OK. This uses the EP1 sound engine, designed to create electric piano sounds using MDS, multi-dimensional synthesis. Several reed and tine electric pianos have been sampled. Then MDS technology is able to separate the mechanical noises from the true tonal harmonics, giving separate control over the two. The tonal harmonics are analyzed and put back together in 2 dimensions, velocity and decay. This makes the velocity and decay of the EP1's tine and reed electric pianos seamless, with no sample looping. Unlike typical samples, MDS allows complete real-time control of the electric piano sound. The EP1 has modeled amp and pedal effects inside the sound engine, separate of the Nautilus effects section. In this example, the intensity of the pedal effect is adjusted using the Effect RT control knob. Other pedal effects can be selected here. Press Exit twice. Select B25. CX3 Organ 888 SW1. This organ program uses the CX3 sound engine, a modeled tone wheel organ. This isn't sampling. This sound engine recreates how a real drawbar organ creates sound. For example, go to Tone Adjust and touch here to access sliders 9 through 17. Now we can adjust the drawbars on the screen by touching and dragging. Press Exit. A rotary speaker effect is right inside of the CX3 sound engine, separate of the Nautilus effects section. Flicking the joystick forward changes the speed. No need to hold it, it acts like a switch. There are 3 Nautilus sound engines designed for analog synthesis: the MS-20EX, the Poly-6EX, and the AL1. Select D57 Star Cycle Lead. The MS-20EX recreates the unique oscillators, filters, and interface of the legendary Korg MS-20 from 1978, plus many new synthesis features. You can connect cables by touching and dragging. Press Exit and touch here and move knobs directly on the screen. Press Exit. Select C10. String Pad JSY. In 1981, Korg released the popular Poly-6, recreated here with the Poly-6EX sound engine. Like with the MS-20EX, you can access and control the Poly-6 interface directly on the screen. E42 Harmonic Double Bubble. This next analog synthesis sound engine, the AL1, was designed from the ground up to create what an analog synthesizer can be today. Remember, these analog synths use modeling, not sampling, giving you incredible flexibility. C55, Steel Strings XY. This next sound engine uses a completely different technology, physical modeling. The STR1 pluck string synth is used to create sounds that are plucked or struck, for example guitars, basses, bells, electric pianos, and more. Instead of just sampling a guitar note, you can literally design what the string is made of, whether it's plucked, struck, or scraped, even how much the string is dampened. A125, Mod 7 E-Piano. One of the most popular synth technologies is frequency modulation. Sounds are created by modulating one waveform with another. The Mod 7 modular wave shaping VPM synth, the next engine we'll look at, takes this technology to a whole new level, allowing not only waveform modulation, but powerful sample modulation and processing. The Mod 7 can create traditional FM sounds like this, but can also create sounds like this. The 8 sound engines we just looked at are referred to as EXI. You can see EXI written here. The next sound engine is the HD1 high-definition PCM synth. The HD1 is different than the EXI sound engines. Consequently, it's not possible for HD1 programs and EXI programs to exist in the same program bank. Any bank, other than the general MIDI banks, can be assigned to HD1 or EXI in Global. We'll look at that in the Global and Media chapter. Select program H50. Beautiful camera strings. This sampling and wave sequencing synth takes sample playback to a new level. With superior sound, starting with Korg's proprietary low aliasing sample playback oscillators, full bandwidth multimode resonant filters, and extraordinarily fast and smooth envelopes and LFOs. Plus, virtual memory technology gives the HD1 access to gigabytes of onboard samples in exquisite detail, from orchestral brass to world instruments to human-played phrases, all instantly available. The HD1 sound engine is also used to create the Nautilus drum kits. The HD1 also features wave sequencing, the ability to play a series of samples one after another either rhythmically or smoothly, all lockable to tempo. Each step can have its own duration and pitch, creating incredible sound movement possibilities. Every program in Combi is set up with this joystick program to control the sound, usually in this way. Left to right will control pitch, forward will add vibrato, and back, or JS-Y as it is called, will affect the overall sound in some way. These switches are set up for each program in Combi as well. Switch 1 will modify the sound in some way, or turn portamento on and off. Switch 2 will modify the sound in some way, or in many cases lock the position of JS-Y. If one of these controllers is extremely important to the sound, it will be included in the name as we see here. And finally, these switches adjust the octave. Pressing octave minus and plus simultaneously resets the transposition. Holding down Shift at the same time will transpose up or down. Shift and both buttons resets the transpose. You may be familiar with vector synthesis on the Kronos that allowed the control of multiple parameters by moving the vector joystick. On the Nautilus, it is controlled from the screen. Press Page, Basic XY controllers, XY control tab. It can also be programmed to make those vector movements automatically. There are 3 ways to dig in and edit any program. The first, and the simplest way, is using these knobs. Make sure this is set to sound. And use these 6 knobs to control filter cutoff, filter resonance, envelope generator intensity, and envelope release time. This one, the amount of effect, usually a modulation effect such as chorus or flanger. And this knob controls the amount of ambient effect, like reverb or delay. The second way is to go here to tone adjust. There are 3 pages of the most useful parameters for this particular program. Press Exit. And finally, you can go deep into the individual parameters of the sound engines, a sound designer's paradise. You can press Page and select the page group you want to edit. Press Exit. Or you'll notice that every program has this overview on the top page, showing basic information about the sound engine's settings. For example, here we can see the filter configuration. Touch those graphics to jump directly to that page group. Once you've edited the program, you can write it to memory by going to the Page menu and touching Write Program. Touch the name and use the screen to rename the program. Touch OK. You can change the category and subcategory here. Touch here and choose the bank and program number you want to write to. Touch OK. Now touch OK here. As before, the screen asks you to confirm the write command. For now, touch Cancel or press Exit. The way the quick access buttons are set up from the factory, button F jumps directly to the write page. Press Exit. A few more points about programs. A single program can have 2 EXI sound engines at the same time. For example, an SGX2 and a Mod 7 together. Also, every program, no matter what sound engine it uses, has access to a 3-band parametric EQ, 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. We'll look at the effects in the sequencer and effects chapter. You can quickly create simple splits and layers from program mode. Touch Quick Layer. The program we started with is here. Let's choose a string program to layer with it. We can write our new combination by touching here, but for now, touch Cancel. Touch Quick Split. For now, leave the 2 programs as is. It splits here, but select the split point parameter, hold down Enter, and play the note where you want the split to happen. You can change the octave of each sound, as well as the volume levels. Touch Right Split Combi. It's automatically given it a descriptive name, and you can set the category and subcategory here. You can rename it if you want, and then choose what combination bank and location to save it to. For now, press Exit twice. Combination and set list modes. Go to Combination mode. In combination mode, you have hundreds of combination sounds, or combis as they are sometimes called. As the name implies, a combi is an organization of up to 16 sounds from program mode, with each sound given its own key range and velocity range. The 16 parts of a combi are referred to as timbres. Combis can be simple layers like this piano and voices, but there are many more possibilities, as you'll soon discover. Combis are organized and selected in banks and categories in the same way the programs are, with of course the Find feature plus assigning particular combis as your favorites. Although some of the categories are named the same as some of the program categories, like keyboard, organ, etc., some others are unique to Combi mode. For example, Combi's in the lead splits category. They have a sound or sounds in the lower range for playing chords, and different sounds in the top range for playing leads. I say sound or sounds because it can be as simple as an acoustic bass in the lower range and a piano in the top range. Or it could be a layer of several sounds in different key ranges triggered at different velocities. As you can hear, Korg's smooth sound transition doesn't cut off the previous Combi. Press Exit. From the keyboard category, select the Sneak. By the way, if you prefer, the Enter button can always be used instead of touching OK on the screen. Like in program mode, each Combi has access to 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. Each timbre has its own 3-band parametric EQ. As well, the RT control knobs can quickly and intuitively adjust the sound. You can see here that in Combi mode you have quick layer and quick split, like we saw earlier in program mode. But in Combi mode, you are combining the entire current Combi you have selected with another program of your choice. Touch Quick Split. The current Combi is in the upper range, and here you can choose the program you want in the lower range. And as before, you can choose the octave, the split point, etc., and then touching here to name it and save it to a specific Combi location. Press Exit twice. Quick Layer works the same way. Saving any edits to a Combi are the same as program mode by using either the page menu or the Quick Access F button to access the right Combi page. Go to Set List mode. Set lists are designed for performing. They make it simple to play and organize any of the programs, combinations, or even sequencer songs in the Nautilus. There are 128 set lists, and each set list has 128 slots, each of which can be assigned to any program, combination, or sequencer song. A set list is like a bank of 128 slots. To select a slot, simply touch the one you want. You can also use the value dial and plus and minus buttons. Even an optional foot switch can be assigned to step through the slots. Notice that SST, Smooth Sound Transitions, is available here as well. These buttons take you to the next or previous group of slots. Other set lists can be selected here. Each slot has the number, the slot name, and the program, combination, or sequencer song assigned to the slot. You can display 16, 8, or 4 slots at a time, giving you more room for text saved with that set list slot or to make your text larger. Great for having reminders and cues as well as lyrics. You can adjust the levels of individual timbres of a Combi, adjust parameters of programs, all without affecting the original Combi, program, or song. Press Exit. Press Page and select Edit. Here you can cut, copy, and paste to move slots around, or even groups of slots. Choose the color for the slot, add text, and more. By the way, you can plug in a USB QWERTY keyboard to use to enter text. Very useful. Programs, combinations, or songs can be added to a set list in 2 ways. Either from within this Edit page, select the type of resource here, a program, a Combi, or a song. You can choose which sequencer track you want to play on the keyboard here. Then choose which program, Combi, or song you want here, either by bank or by category. Press Exit to return to the main page. The other way to add to a set list is to go to the program, Combi, or song you want to add. From the page menu, choose Add to Set List. Then choose where you want it inserted. Press Exit and go back to Set List. Set List is perfect for performance because Korg listened to the input and suggestions of performing musicians. For example, when you change from one performance venue to the next, you may want to adjust EQ to suit that particular room. So here, you'll find a 9-band EQ that will affect every program, combi, and song in your setlist to adjust it to the room you're in. Be sure to save your setlist before shutting off the Nautilus or going to another setlist so that any edits you may have done won't be lost. Press Exit. Arpeggiator, drum track, and step sequencer. This instrument has what I like to call production tools, designed to inspire you musically, to help in your creation of music, and to simply make playing the Nautilus fun. There are 3: polyphonic arpeggiator, drum track, and step sequencer, and are available in program, combination, and sequencer, and of course setlist mode. Let's look at each of them to see how they work and how they can help you musically. Go to program mode. I'm going to use program M37 Triangulator Synth, and touch here to go to the arpeggiator and drum page. Each program, combination, and sequencer song has 4 scenes. You can see them here. Each scene has an arpeggiator pattern and either a drum track pattern or a step sequencer drum pattern. Let's start with the polyphonic arpeggiator, or ARP as it is sometimes called. Turn on the ARP and play a chord. The ARP will start when you press the keyboard. For some sounds, the ARP may only start when you play in a specific range of the keyboard, so if it doesn't start, try holding down keys in various regions. If latch is off, the ARP will stop when you take your hand off the keyboard. If latch is on, it will continue playing when you take your hand off the keyboard. ARPs and other keyboards usually only play basic patterns that simply arpeggiate the notes you play on the keyboard, up and down or some other pattern. The Nautilus can do that too, but these polyphonic ARPs are much more powerful. You'll notice that single notes and chords are being triggered with different durations, velocities, and note movement. Much more interesting and much more inspiring. Watch when I select this guitar program and turn on the ARP. The ARP is simulating the strumming of a guitar. The musical phrases created by the ARP can be recorded into the sequencer, so they're very useful, for example with this strumming pattern, to add realism to your songs. Select K64, SR Finger Bass 1. Each scene can have a different ARP pattern assigned to it. To assign a pattern to a scene, select the scene you want and touch here to access the Edit page. Touch here to select the ARP pattern. The patterns are grouped together in categories, so it's easy to find what you're looking for. Touch OK. Touching More gives you more edit options, like octaves. Whether the keyboard will trigger the sound as well as the ARP. Touch the X to close this page, and touch the Edit icon here to come out of Edit. Let's choose a different program. M66. Fun Comp Synth. Make sure latch is on, turn on the ARP and play some notes. You can easily make overall adjustments to the ARP patterns of all 4 scenes. Press the Select button so that the knobs are controlling ARP and drums. Now you can adjust the gate, velocity, pattern length, swing. Tempo can either be adjusted with the Tempo knob or the Tap Tempo button that lets you enter tempo simply by tapping your finger on the button. 2 taps are enough to change the tempo, but for greater accuracy you can continue tapping and the tempo will be averaged over the most recent 16 taps. Turn off the ARP. Select K91, SR Slap Bass. The Nautilus polyphonic arpeggiator takes a huge step up when it's combined with the drum track. Turn off the ARP and let's look at drum track. It can be set to either start as soon as the drum track button is pressed, or once the button has been pressed to start when the keyboard is played. Like with the ARP, a different drum pattern can be assigned to each scene. To edit the drum track, select a scene and touch here to go to the edit page. You select the drum kit to be used here, and the drum pattern here. You'll notice that the patterns are categorized by musical style, so it's easy to find what you're looking for. You can select the other scenes from this page as well. Touch Edit to leave the edit page. Set the RT control knobs to ARP and drums. Of course, the tempo can be adjusted using either the tempo knob or the tap tempo button, but you can also use this knob to choose from different snare drums. And adjust the swing as well. Turn off drum track. The drum track patterns are pre-programmed MIDI patterns, but you can easily create your own drum patterns with the step sequencer using a grid system on the screen. Touch here to go to the edit page. Touch Instrument List. You can have 12 simultaneous tones in the step sequencer pattern, such as bass drum, snare, hi-hat, etc., from the currently assigned drum kit. They are pre-assigned, but you can assign any sound from the current drum kit for each tone. Touch the X to close this window. A scene can either have the drum track assigned to it or one of the 4 step sequencer patterns. Let's use step sequencer pattern A. To create the pattern, touch here. On the right, you can choose the meter, length, resolution, etc. of the pattern. For now, set the length to 8 steps. Let's start by inputting a hi-hat on each step by touching the grid. Touch here to preview the pattern. Let's add a bass drum. And a snare. To use the accents, we need to set the overall velocity to a negative value. Go back to this page and set the velocity to -20. Now back to the pattern. Set the accent here on the right to +50. And let's add some accents to some of the steps. Press Exit twice. Once you've set up the 4 scenes how you want them, you need to save it, either over the current location or to a different location. Let's look at using these production tools in Combi mode. Like with program mode, you simply turn on the ARP and drums and play. However, there are a couple of differences from using them in program mode. Combi mode and sequencer mode work the same way, so for now we'll just look at Combi mode. Select a Combi. Anyone is fine, but let's use B90 EDM Stars Piano. You can see that this Combi is saved with the drums and ARP on and ready to go. Go to the ARP and drum page. As in program mode, there are 4 scenes. Each scene can have different ARPs and drum patterns. Let's look at the ARP first. In program mode, you have 1 polyphonic arpeggiator, but in Combi and sequencer mode, you have 2 simultaneous ARPs. Turn on the ARP and play a chord. And touch here to go to the edit page. If I turn off the individual ARP B latch, we'll hear the ARP A pattern, and vice versa to hear ARP B. Like before, you can touch here and select the pattern you want. Turn ARP A latch back on and turn off ARP. Touch More. Here you'll find more detailed information about ARP A and ARP B. Since a Combi can have 16 timbres with assignable MIDI channels, you need to specify what MIDI channel ARP A and B are transmitting on. That's done here. And this can be specified for each scene. In this scene, ARP A is sending out on channel 4 and ARP B on channel 5. So any timbres on channel 4 will be triggered by ARP A, and any timbres on channel 5 by ARP B. Touch here to exit this page. Drum track and step sequencer work exactly the same as in program mode, but like the ARPs, the MIDI channel needs to be assigned. You can set it to whatever channel you want. By default, it's channel 10. So any timbres in the Combi assigned to channel 10 will be triggered by the drum track or the step sequencer. Press Exit. Select any Combi you like. Turn on the ARPs and drums, and play. And listen to the incredible, inspiring music that you and your Nautilus can create. Sequencer and effects. We've seen how Nautilus is packed with tools to inspire you, from 9 sound engines to polyphonic arpeggiators, wave sequencing, drum track, and more. The internal 16-track MIDI sequencer is designed to capture your idea when inspiration hits. For example, in Combi mode, choose a Combi. Let's bring that into the sequencer. Go to sequencer mode. When the Nautilus is turned on, it automatically loads in the songs that were in the sequencer when it was turned off. So touch the pop-up button to the left of the song name and select the first new song location. Okay, now Page menu, Copy from Combi. The last Combi selected is already here. We'll copy the effect settings of the combination as well, so select these 3. Check multi-record standby, so the status will be automatically set to record all the MIDI tracks needed to record that combination. Touch OK. Turn on ARP and the drum track, then touch the record button here. As soon as you touch the start button, there will be a 2-measure count in, and then it will start recording. Touch Stop. Touch Start. Idea captured. The ARPs, the drums, and your own keyboard part have been recorded on separate tracks. Before adding additional tracks, be sure to turn off multi-record here. You could use the touchscreen to start, record, fast forward, etc., but as mentioned in the Introduction and Navigation chapter, you can assign those functions to these quick access buttons in global mode. But in sequencer mode, no matter what the quick access buttons are set to, you can override that by holding down Exit and pressing a quick access button to start, stop, record, locate, etc. By the way, touching here or using Exit and button C is the locate command. Locate is programmable, but by default it will bring us back to measure 1, beat 1. Now let's look at recording one track at a time. The Nautilus has tools to help make this easy as well. Go to a new empty song location. Of course, you can select whatever sounds you want for each track, but a template song will quickly set up the first 8 tracks with sounds, levels, panning, effects, etc. in a particular musical genre so you can quickly start recording. Page menu, Load Template Song. There are 18 preset and 16 user to choose from. You can copy preset drum patterns to one of the tracks. This can be done later or while you're still on this dialog box. We'll do it now, so touch here and touch OK. You can select from many user and preset patterns, but by default you're taken to the first pattern in the genre of the template song you selected. Each time you press OK, it will put this 8-measure pattern sequentially on the track. Touch Exit. Touch here and select track 2. Track 2 already has a bass program from the template song. I'm going to have my timing automatically corrected to the nearest 16th note by setting it here. You can do this after you record as well. Track 3, piano. Track 4, acoustic guitar. You'll see that it has ARP A at the end of the track name. This means that this track is already set up to be triggered by ARP A, in this case, a strumming pattern. Turn on the ARP, just play a chord, and the ARP strums it for you. I'm going to set the record resolution to high so the looseness of the strumming pattern is recorded accurately. Let's add one more track. There's a choir program on track 5. But you can change any of the sounds to something else. Touch here twice. And from the motion synth category, rhythmic subcategory, I'll go over here and choose Rhythm Monkey Groove. On this recording setup page, I can select different ways to record, for example, overwrite, overdub, manual or auto punch-in, or loop recording. I'll set it to overdub. Back to the Mixer tab. I'll overdub some volume automation on track 5, like this. By setting the RT control knobs to sound, I can do the same, overdubbing filter cutoff, resonance, etc. onto the track. Set the RT knobs to user. The user RT control knob settings are already set up for you in each factory template song. Page, EQ XY controllers page group, Controllers tab. You can see here that knob 1 is controlling the volumes of tracks 1, 2, and 8, the drums, bass, and percussion tracks, and knob 2 is controlling the volumes of the other 5 tracks. Knobs 3, 4, 5, and 6 are controlling the EQ of the first 8 tracks. Also, switches 1 and 2 are set up to mute selected tracks or solo selected tracks. You choose the function here. And what tracks are affected here. Press Exit. The volumes and panning of the first 8 MIDI tracks are displayed here. Touching here takes you to tracks 9 through 16. Go back to the first 8 tracks. This other subpage displays the play, mute, and solo status. Again, the group of tracks is selected here. Go back to the volume subpage. Press Page, Track Edit. Editing of a song is done here on the Track Edit page group. Select the track to be edited, set the measure range here, then select the editing function from the page menu. Press Exit to go back to the home page. We've looked at real-time recording, but there are other methods like step-time recording, as well as the creation and use of patterns which can be made with either the real-time or step-time process. When the Nautilus is shut off, then on, the new songs you created will still be in memory. However, when you load in a different song file, your new songs will be erased, so you still need to save them to disk. We'll look at saving songs, programs, etc. in the Global and Media chapter. Let's look at how the effects work in sequencer mode. Combination mode works the same way. Program mode is similar, but basically it's like working with a single track. Press Page, and go to the EQ XY Controllers page group, MIDI Track EQ tab. Each MIDI track and audio track has its own 3-band EQ. Now the IFX page group, short for Insert Effects. Since we used a template song to get started, you'll notice that the effects have already been set up for many of the tracks, but of course you can make any changes you wish. There are 12 insert effects available. When a track is bused to an insert effect, the audio signal passes directly through the effect. Think of it like a guitar effect pedal you plug in and out of. You can route a track or multiple tracks into any insert effect, even chain effects together. This IFX 1 through 12 tab takes you to where you can edit each of the effects extensively. Go back to the first tab. Drums are a special case. Drum kits are created and edited in global mode, and there's a bus select parameter for each sound in a drum kit, so you can send the snare drum to one insert effect, the bass drum to another, cymbals into another, etc. In this example, the drum kit is using 2 of the 12 insert effects. If you want to change how the drums are routed, you can touch here to select the track, then go to the drum kit IFX patch from the page menu. Press Exit. Similar to a mixing board, you have sends 1 and 2 setting how much of the track signal is sent to Master Effects 1 and 2. We'll look at the Master Effects in a moment. If a track isn't routed to one of the insert effects, then send 1 and 2 are set here. If a track is routed to one of the insert effects, go to the Insert Effects tab, and here after each insert effect are the sends 1 and 2. Press Page. MFX is short for Master Effects, and TFX is short for Total Effects. These are the Master Effects. A typical application is to set a modulation effect like a chorus on Master Effect 1 and a reverb on Master Effect 2. Then use the sends to set how much of each you want on a sound. These last 2 effects, the Total Effects, are applied to the entire mix at the very end of the signal. For example, you might put a parametric 4-band EQ and a limiter on the entire mix. By the way, every insert, master, and total effect has several presets to help you find the settings you need. Press Exit. And on a final note, whether you're in Program, Combi, Sequence, or Setlist mode, the current master effects can be muted with this button, and the total effects with this button. Turn them both back on. Audio recording and sampling. The Nautilus is a complete music workstation because it not only features multiple sound engines, EQs, effects, and a MIDI sequencer, it also seamlessly integrates audio in 2 ways: stereo sampling and 16-track audio recording. First, let's look at 16-track audio recording. I'm going to add an audio track to the song I created in the previous chapter. With audio recording, you're recording directly to the internal solid-state drive, sometimes referred to as hard disk recording or HDR. You can record up to 4 tracks simultaneously from a variety of sources: the analog inputs 1 and 2, USB 1 and 2, and the 4 record buses, even digitally from any of the outputs. You can record through the internal effects or add the effects later. In this example, I'll record my electric guitar, plugging directly into analog input 1. By the way, these audio inputs are available in Program, Combi, Sequencer, and Setlist mode as well. Useful for plugging in a mic or guitar and routing it through the Nautilus system utilizing the internal effects. From the Recording Setup tab, the page menu accesses Auto HDR Sampling Setup. This will automatically set up everything you need for a variety of audio track recording or sampling jobs. Select HDR Audio Track Recording. The source audio is audio input 1 mono. It's possible to record through the insert effects, and this template song already has a guitar amp modeling effect on IFX11, specifically for this type of situation. So I'll route through that effect by setting this to IFX11. I'm recording to track 1, so I touch OK. By the way, the template songs also have IFX12 set to a microphone modeling effect. Next, I need to set the input type and level. Hold down Shift and press Audio In. Make sure the input select is set to mic. Keeping an eye on the meter, adjust the analog input gain until the level is high but not clipping. If the signal clips, you'll see the message ADC overload appear over the meter. Depending on your type of guitar and pickups, you may need to adjust these parameters accordingly, or even route the guitar through a preamp or effects unit first. Details are in the PDF manuals. Press Exit twice. Record and start. Now I can adjust the level, panning, EQ, add additional effects, adjust the amount of reverb, etc. I can even go to the track edit page to copy, paste, normalize, and much more. Press Exit. By the way, audio files in a variety of different formats can be imported into the Nautilus and assigned to an audio track as well. Details are in the PDF manuals. Let's look at sampling. The Nautilus can sample from any of the inputs in any mode, resample, do time slicing, load in samples in different formats, and more. Of course, we don't have time to get into everything here, but let me show you a couple of things. Let's start with sampling the Nautilus itself, for example, a Combi. Touch the Sampling tab. Touch Auto Setup. Select Resample Combination Play. With Convert to Program on, after resampling, the data will be automatically converted and saved to the program number you set here. I'll use S000. Touch OK. Touch the Sampling Record button here, then Start. As indicated here, recording will start once I start playing. Touch the Stop button to stop recording. Go to the program we selected to save everything to S000. It has been automatically assigned to this note. There it is. Now to sampling mode. I touch here to select the new multisample that contains the new sample. Go to the Sample Edit page. There's the waveform that can be edited. Let's truncate this sample. Turn on the grid, and I can see the quarter notes at the selected tempo. I know the tempo of the Combi is 102.5 BPM. Now it's easy to set the start and end points to cover 4 beats. I can use these buttons to zoom in and out. Touch play to hear the edit range. Now from the Page menu, Truncate. It's already set to truncate the front and end. Touch OK. As you can see, Grid is very useful when editing time-based samples. Now to the Loop Edit page. And turn on Loop. Press Exit. Now let's sample from the inputs. First, I'll create a new multisample. I won't make it stereo since I'm only sampling from input 1. Go to the Audio Input tab and touch Auto Setup. Select Record Audio Input. The source audio is already set up from before. Keep it as it is. It's possible to sample through the insert effects, but I won't this time. Touch OK. Hold down Shift and press Audio In. It's already set correctly from when I recorded in sequencer mode. Press Exit. I'll set the metronome to 4 beats before it starts sampling. Touch Sampling Record, then Sampling Start Stop. Back to the Recording tab. I'll set the range of the single sample to go from C2 to C4, holding down Enter and playing C4. I can create additional samples by touching Create. The samples are mapped on the keyboard as a multisample. To use this multisample, you need to save it as a program using Convert MS to Program from the Page menu. We'll look at saving the recording audio as well as the samples in the Global and Media chapter. Global and Media. Go to Global Mode. This is where you can adjust and edit a variety of things that pertain to the Nautilus as a whole. Global transpose, global MIDI channel, etc. You edit wave sequences, drum kits, and arpeggiator patterns in this mode as well. Go to the Controller Scales page group. Depending on the optional damper pedal you connect to the Nautilus, you may need to change the polarity. By default, it's negative, which is for Korg damper pedals, but you may need to change it to positive. Press Exit. There may be times when you may want to use the Nautilus without interacting with the drum track or the arpeggiators. You can globally turn them off here. In the Program chapter, we saw how a program bank needs to be set to HD1 or EXI. This is where that's done. And here's where you set the Auto Power Off setting. To save any changes to Global so they'll be there after the Nautilus is turned off and on, you'll need to write Global. By the way, go to this Manual Info tab. You can select the manual you want here, then scan the 2D code and it will bring your device to that online PDF manual. Press Exit. Let's look at Media. Media is where you save and load data to the internal solid-state drive or to external USB media. Anything that you create or edit in the Nautilus can be saved to disk. There are a number of file types for different types of data, for example .pcg and .sng. PCG will have the program, combination, and global data, as well as set lists, ARP patterns, etc. SNG stands for song, a file that stores all the songs from sequencer mode. It's important to keep your data organized. For example, keeping the .pcg and .sng files of a particular project in a master folder or directory, as it is sometimes called, the same way you organize things in folders on your computer. From the Utility tab, Page menu, Create Directory. I'll name the directory Video. By the way, touching here will quickly delete the current text. When you're done, touch OK, then OK again. There's our new directory. Go to the Save tab. I touch the directory I just created and then Open. Page menu. As you can see, you can save just the PCG, just the sequences, etc. For this example, I'm choosing Save All. name it. Here I can select specifically what I want to save. I'll save everything. Touch OK. When working on a project, it's a good idea to save all the programs, combis, and global as well, even if you only created a song in the sequencer and didn't edit any programs. At a future date, you may have changed some of the programs or loaded different programs into the bank and program locations your song is using. When you load these files back in, you'll want everything to be exactly as it was at that point. You'll see that it's created the two files I mentioned earlier, .pcg and .sng. This folder with the _A contains all the audio files I recorded in the sequencer. KSC and this folder have the information and files from the sampling I did. And this user bank KSC file has the links to the EXS and user sample banks. Details are in the PDF manuals. Lastly, let's load the factory preload demo songs. Touch up to come out of the directory we created. The song file we need is in the factory folder. Touch it, then touch open. Touch preload.sng, then load. You can either append, meaning add the songs to the songs already in the sequencer, or clear, erase what's in memory and replace it with the songs you are loading. Keep it on clear. We're just loading the song file, so leave these unselected and touch OK. There are demo songs with not only MIDI data, but audio tracks as well. Once it's finished loading, go to sequence mode. Let's select this first song and press start. Well, that's it. I hope this helps to kickstart your Nautilus experience. As I mentioned at the start, you can get additional detailed information in the online PDF manuals. Congratulations on purchasing an instrument that not only inspires you, but gives you the tools to capture that inspiration. Korg Nautilus. Great for live, great for music production, great for sound design. You made the right choice.